If you are working on a help desk ticketing system, or you have an issue action item list or some other settings, adding an ID or unique identifier to your list or library could be handy in certain cases. In this lab, we will add a unique identifier ID to your list. So if you are on ABC homepage or anywhere else, go to one of the lists in your system called ABC HR locations. Now, if you don't see this list in your user interface, then you may want to choose any of your lists. So I'm in ABC HR locations list, and I want to add unique identifier to this list. Now, the benefits of this ID column is that ID number is unique. So if you delete a list or item, the particular ID number will not be used. And the ID number is also auto-incremented automatically by the system. So let's see how we can add ID column to our list. In our ABC HR location, click on Add Column. And then go down bottom, it says Show Hide Columns. And on right hand side pane, click to turn on ID column. Now we want to move this column to the top, to the left far corner. So we are going to make this up so that ID column will be shown at the beginning of your list. And then click on Apply. So as you can see, Canada Office and Dubai Office automatically got ID number 1 and 2. To test our functionality we just added, let's delete Dubai Office. Click on Item and click on Delete button and click on Delete. So Dubai Office, which was item number 2, has been deleted. Now I'm going to add a new one. Click Save. So Singapore Office automatically gets ID number 3. So the one that we deleted will not be used one more time. Now if you are using SharePoint Classic version, let's go to Classic SharePoint. So we are in ABC HR locations but Classic view. Click on List and click on Modify View. Here we will add column called ID so that we can automatically generate ID numbers. Find out the ID column and click on ID column and make it number 1. So from 12 choose number 1 and it will automatically reassign the numbers. Click on OK. So this is how you can see the ID column in Classic view. Let's go back to our modern view again. So exit Classic Experience, click on left hand side, and let's be back to our ABC HR locations modern view. Now one more thing I wanted to show it to you is how you can rename the ID column. It is a system generated name, but you can still rename this column. So click on drop down beside ID and go to column settings and click on rename. And instead of ID, you want to give some meaningful name to your that may be useful in your project. Location ID, click Save. So the ID column becomes now Location ID. And the last thing I'm going to do in this lab is I'm going to save this view. So I'm going to click on all items drop down, save view as, and I'll just going to keep the same name and click on save. So this is how you can add ID column to your list, but similar functionality is also available in your document library. So for example, if you are in ABCHR library or documents library, you can also add the ID column in the library as well as. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lab.